Hello and welcome back to Deep Images. This is part two of our extra special symposium that we have been doing for the film MANDY from 2018 by Panos Cosmatos. We would like you to join in and listen to the discussion. Drop a like if you're so inclined, and leave a comment and subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much, and let's get into it. Yeah, this setting is a place where people who are all passionate about the same movie can. I mean, we're trying to communicate what the movie's about, but we are also communicating our own individual feelings about it. And,
Yeah.
and I think
That's
that's
true.
that's that that's what distinguishes it from a regular topic review. It doesn't make necessarily a superior, but if people want to go deeper on one movie or the smaller amount of people, then we're here for you. You got you covered.
So the next part of the movie is where he goes to um, Bill Duke's. Um,
Carruthers.
what's his name? What his name? Carruthers. Carruthers is his name, or Bill
Yeah.
Duke
Yeah.
is the actor, and he goes to his trailer, and come Red comes to Carruthers' trailer for his crossbow, which is called the Reaper. So he left the Reaper at his trailer, and Carruthers gives him um, kind of silver uh, arrows as well. I think he gives them silver arrows,
Yeah, he calls
like
them bolts,
their
but they're arrows. Yeah.
bolt for their
Hmm.
arrows.
Hmm.
And they talk about Carruthers talks about the Black Skull Gang. If you want to talk about that, it's like that they've given them a special batch of LSD, and it's the origins of the Black Skull. You were
Hmm.
saying
Because it was
that?
apparently it happened, well, this was in the early 80s. So I guess they're implying it happened in the late 60s. MK Ultra, so there you have a government covert ops program that people used to think didn't exist, but now we all know commonly definitely existed. Maybe still exists. And all about mind control and all experimentation. And yeah, they experimented on these people, and I think they mutated the acid to a really bizarre level, and it had a strange effect on these people. And then they started having it synthetically made, which we don't know that at the time. Later, we get to the chemist character who does it, but so that's what they live off of, and so they're really, you're right. It's completely rewired their brain, the way they think, the way they talk, their lack of, they can't feel pain. They're, they're totally, they're not just mutants. They're, like you said, they become like demons. And but the way he tells it to Red, and the way that Bill Duke delivery, he is so incredible. It's just like he's telling you this urban legend, like, yeah, they say back there with the MK Ultra experiments up in them hills. It's like he's like a campfire storyteller. Loved it.
Truth, yeah. And he's like, you might die. He's like, go out there knowing that you might die if you go after these guys or whatever. Yeah, Nicolas Cage, Red he makes himself an axe, an incredible axe,
That scene is,
and
talk about
yeah, it's
lighting.
very metal.
It
Yeah,
is,
it's
and
very, yeah, metal is the perfect word to describe it.
you know what that's patterned after? Do you happen to know?
A battler, is it?
The
It's like
shape
a
of it,
bullet.
so it's called the Beast. You might have know that already, but he calls it the Beast. But I don't think he only says it one time in the movie. But it is patterned literally after um, the F in Celtic Frost. It was one of the first, black metal bands. There's the Celtic, and then there's the Frost, begins with an F, and it looks exactly like the Beast. That was a
Wow, really?
deliberate. Yeah, they never say it in the
That's
movie, but
it.
yeah,
I love that. I love knowing that
yeah.
now. But also, like when I sing this song, "Dirty Old Town," which is a Pogue song, and it
Hmm.
says, "I'm gonna make me a big sharp axe, shining steel, tempered in the fire. I'll chop you down like an old dead tree
Mm.
in the dirty old town." the dirty old town. I always think of Mandy now. I'm just
You
like,
have a prettier voice than Shane McGowan, though.
look, he's a punk. I'm a
Oh,
punk,
he's
but he's a
brilliant.
punk.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, absolutely.
R.I.P. Shane McGowan.
Great man.
Yes.
Yeah, rest in peace, brother. Yeah. But yeah, I always think of the movie Mandy when I sing that song, and yeah, because that axe is just incredible, and the scene and everything. It's so sticks in your mind.
It
Mm-hmm.
does.
Mm-hmm.
He comes for vengeance. Then I think it's clear that he's coming for vengeance, and on the way to the house, I think he runs over one of the Black Skull members on the road, I think. But then his car turns over, and then he ends up being brought to the house, I think.
Mm-hmm.
All right. He wakes up and he sees a salamander. He sees a salamander. So he gets brought back to the lair, and one of the hell demons wakes him up. One of the Black Skull members wakes him up, and he's got that barbed wire again on his mouth. And they love doing that to him. It's like one of their favorite things to do is just like wrap people in barbed wire,
Right.
as you do. What a hosts! What hosts? You know.
And to add on to your Jesus symbolism thing, they actually nail his hand down this
Mhm.
time.
Yeah.
Truth. Yeah,
Hmm.
they do. And but yeah, like Red is got the fiery rage of vengeance in his blood, and so it gives him the strength to pull the pipe down and like beat the crap out of the Black Skull member, and he pushes him into an like a hole in the ground, like why, like it's like he's gone to hell.
That was
Like
weird. Yeah.
back down to hell where you
Hmm.
belong. It's like okay, like you
Convenient
do, like we
bottomless
all
pit.
have,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, like we all
Oh,
have those lying
forgot
around.
to tell you there's a bottomless pit over there, dude. Be careful.
Yeah,
How'd
yeah,
that get there?
yeah.
But this is
And then
like
he sees
Greg movies.
another.
Anything can happen and does.
Yes.
It's he sees another of the Black Skull demons, I'm calling them, and he's watching porn. He's sitting in a chair and he's watching porn, and he's sniffing coke or whatever, and it looks like he has sort of like a blade for an erection. It looks like it looks like he has a knife or something,
Yeah.
and it's kind of wild, yeah. Um, but then Nicolas Cage goes over and he like uses the beast and kills kills the demon, and then he kills another demon by snapping its neck, and you can just see the kind of excitement in his
Yeah, that
eyes, and then
expression.
Nicolas Cage is starting
Yeah.
to really
Just,
get into it,
yeah.
like
That
red.
man, I had an adrenaline rush in that scene, especially when he goes, "That was my favorite shirt."
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh, that was yeah.
And when I
Man,
first
he's a
saw it,
class act.
I was confused, like why are his weapons there? But then I realized they confiscated them from his truck when it fell over. So he
Hmm.
reacquired the Reaper and the Beast that they were inside of that guy's Black Skull's house. But at first I was a little confused by that, but I get it now.
Yeah, he decides to snort some cocaine himself and take a little bit of acid. So I think he's literally he's going to the dark side fully. He's
Yes.
making the choice to fully go to the dark side so that he can kill the demons. You have to
Right.
become a demon to kill a demon.
Right. And he
That's
only takes a
he's
little bit of the Black Skull stuff. But that scene is that trip is in amazing. And
yeah.
it's
It's an
fast.
animation, isn't it? Like
Yeah, animation, like melting heads, and I mean it's really staggering. I need to look on frame by frame
Yeah.
to go.
Mind-boggling imagery for sure.
Absolutely. And I wanted to say this. Some people were who asked me when the movie came out, they're like, "Well, how does he keep going and he keeps getting injured and he keeps doing this stuff?" And I said, "Well, after he drinks that black fluid, he's not totally human anymore."
Right.
He's kind of been disintegrated and reconstructed as a different being through that trip. So he probably doesn't feel much pain anymore, and he's very even more single-minded than ever.
So with the axe, he has a proper one-on-one fight, and I feel like it's like Buffy the Vampire style, because that's one of the things I love about Buffy the Vampire. It's just that they have all these one-on-one actual fight scenes, and he has a fight scene with the axe and with the brother Swan, and he says she's still burning, like, which is a really creepy
Oh
thing to
yeah.
say. Like, ew, what a thing to say to
That
somebody.
was
Right.
hardcore. That was a really
Yeah.
hardcore line of dialogue.
That's sadistic.
Hmm.
It is absolutely. And then he says the Neil Young line, better to burn out than to fade away. And I always think that's really, a lot of rock and roll and metal people and people in the rock world or whatever, I know because I'm a rock musician myself, they love saying, even my own father, he's not with us anymore. When he was alive, he used to love saying better to burn out than to fade away. He died when I was 22, so, and at the age of 52, so he died young. And so in his mind, better to burn out than to fade away. But like, to be honest, I really don't believe in that.
Oh, I
I
don't
think people
either.
get that line wrong, though. I think they get it wrong, and a lot of people make it into their ethos of like to do whatever the frick they want.
Right.
And
And we haven't covered this movie on the channel as a movie that Dennis Hopper directed called Out of the Blue. And Neil Young wrote the song for that movie, Out of the Blue and Into the Black. And that has that line in it. And the line is about punk rock and how it's changing the world. And it's got a really heavy guitar riff. I think it's an incredible song, but it is funny that line has become its own kind of cliche or meme or however you want to put it.
yeah, in a way, it has people. I think people have used that line to just make excuses to do whatever they want. I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
it's like the Bible. You know what I mean? People take the Bible and use the Bible to do whatever they want with it.
Exactly.
You know, it's
Hmm.
not Neil's fault that people are using
Oh,
his
no, no.
lyric in a
Yeah.
terrible way in their lives. I love Neil Young. He's one of my favorite people, writers,
Mhm.
songwriters. And actually, my dad was actually at a session one time, and Neil Young came in and actually asked, could he play a song? And he actually played a song with my dad.
Wow.
Uh,
It's pretty
so
cool.
my yeah, and I actually played the guitar that Neil Young played,
Oh,
and
wow.
that day is I actually play it. So
No, that's awesome.
really
Nice.
connected, and yeah, in that cool way.
Oh, yeah.
Um, yeah, so that's the song I write. The guitar I write my songs on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Very
Kind of
cool.
blessed.
Yeah, blessed. Yeah.
Uh,
Hmm.
Enchanted.
yeah, then he drives to the chemist's place. Um, yeah, he drives to the chemist's place, and we see that it's this really wild place that he's created for himself. It's almost futuristic, actually. The chemist's acid den, don't you think?
Hmm.
It's a bit
Hmm.
futuristic, and he has a tiger called Lizzie
The tiger is
in
the
a cave.
symbol in this movie because you remember earlier in the movie he wears a t-shirt with a tiger on it toward the very
Yeah.
beginning of the movie. So that orange tiger has some kind of meaning within that. And I've noticed there are a few other works that I've seen, like Lars von Trier's TV series, The Kingdom, used that orange tiger a lot as a weird symbol, and I don't remember what it symbolized, but it looked
To
cool.
me,
Yeah,
so
I,
energetically, what I see it as it being like the sort of the symbol of natural predator, like a
yeah,
natural pure predator, like
right.
yeah.
versus an evil predator.
That makes sense.
Does that, I don't
Okay.
know, that's just what I got from it. What do you think?
Yeah, it's kind of
That's
like
a good way.
because Nicolas Cage isn't afraid of the tiger, but he's also circumspect. Whereas basically the chemist is telling him, it's Lizzie, no big deal. So
Hmm.
yes, the tiger could probably rip Nicolas Cage's head off, but she chooses not to.
Yeah. She probably recognizes him as a natural predator because he's become
Yeah,
a
he's a hunter.
natural
Yeah,
predator too. He's
Oh my
hunting
God,
now.
that's a great way to put it.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
And um
A lot of symbolism in this movie that I really love.
Yeah, it's deep, man. I'm loving it. A lot of deep images.
Hmm.
mhm. Woo. Um then he goes after this mulleted guy. There's a mulleted member of the he's a very
Mulleted.
gnarly looking dude. Um and yeah, he's pretty cool looking. I don't know. Member of the Children of the Gold of the Witch Dawn? Or
New
Children
Dawn.
of the
Yeah,
Yeah.
Golden Dawn. Children of the New Dawn.
right.
And they have a chainsaw fight. It's pretty cool. And pretty metal again, as
Yeah,
you're saying.
echoes of Evil
Uh,
Dead too.
And then one of
And
them has like this comically large chainsaw.
it's super long.
Yeah, it is like
He's like,
man.
my chainsaw's longer than your chainsaw.
I'm not gonna lie, I laughed at the chainsaw at how long it was.
Hmm. Purposefully ludicrous. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, then he goes into church, like, and it's all red again, a big red church,
The
and
music when he goes into the church and the shots, I mean, it's really like he doesn't really know what he's getting into, and we don't either. I mean, it's like it's very portentous music, and as he travels through that kind of corridor, it's like this is he's achieving like the last step of his journey, and his destination, and so it's more fateful than ever. So the music is kind of pushing you, and the music, some of that music is metal in there. There is some guitar drum parts with those riffs when he gets into there. So it's hitting another level of metal.
Hmm.
It's heavier metal.
heavier metal again. And then Mother Melaine comes and tries to, the Irish actress Alwyn, she tries to seduce um, Red and saying that she's like an incredible lover and stuff, and that she could make him feel things that like that he's never felt before in his life and stuff. But then he chops her head off. He puts an end to that swiftly. He's like, enough out of you.
The reveal of that when he enters the room where Jeremiah's in is epic. It's
Yeah,
epic. It's just
With
he,
her
first
head,
thing.
yeah, he rolls
Yeah,
the
it's
head
not
toward him
even.
like a
Yeah.
bowling ball. He
like a
rolls
bowling ball.
rolls the
Yeah.
skull toward him like a
Mhm.
bowling ball.
Yeah. But it almost is, but it's also like, yeah, well, look, this is the skull of my enemies. And I'm like, hey,
Yeah,
you're next.
Yeah.
he's got that Conan
Yeah.
thing going on.
Yeah. Jeremiah is just like standing in the room, and he's like, "Don't come any closer. God is present in this room." And then the head just goes rolling.
Red is not impressed.
Yeah. Exactly.
And Jeremiah is like, you can't harm me, like as if he's some sort of anointed creature that like God is on his side. And he
Mhm.
calls Red an unholy abomination, and hate follows you everywhere. But literally, he's talking about himself. I'm like,
Yeah,
Hmm.
projection, much.
yeah, absolutely.
and then he flips the script then because he can see that Red is powerful, because a lot of narcissists do that when they see someone as powerful. They try
Yeah.
to kind of like be subservient to the powerful person, and is like, I could blow you, man. How he's like
Yeah, that's
10x.
that took me totally
Dude,
off
my jaw
guard.
was on the floor. I was like,
Yeah.
"What?" Like,
That's
like.
when the whole mask falls down.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm so desperate now, I'll give you a blowjob.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm just like,
As soon as Red approaches Jeremiah, he immediately cowers. Yeah, and then like you said, I'll blow you. Like, what do you want? What do you want me to suck on your?
He
Oh
said,
my
"I'll
god, my
suck
jaw
your
was on the
dick,
floor.
man."
Yeah,
And he's
I could
terrified.
blow you. Yeah.
man,
Yeah.
Wrong
the
timing.
depravity.
He didn't read the room very well, since the last person who tried to seduce him, their head rolled toward him. He didn't get it.
That's exactly. No, he didn't get the memo.
Right.
No. And then he just crushes his skull.
Jeremiah
And
does take right before he does that. Jeremiah does do another flip, and he goes,
oh yeah.
"You should be kneeling before me."
And then he says something like, Red says something like, "I'm your god now, motherfucker."
Yes. Oh,
And
and there's a
mhm.
key line, and damn it, I don't know if any of y'all wrote it down. But when he comes into that area and he starts talking to Jeremiah, he says something, and he says it in this weird synthesized voice, which I guess is for effect, or maybe the acid is making him sound like a black skull. But he says something like, it's basically like where the mystic swims, you were in shallow waters. Basically, in other words, like Mandy was mystical. You are just a poser. You're out of your
Oh
depth.
wow.
I just can't remember the exact
Yeah.
line, but it took me a few times, and then I read about it. And it's like that is what he meant. He's like, I'm here. This is all you got. You're nothing. You're totally phony. You don't touch the mystical. You killed someone that I loved that touched the mystical daily, and that's a heavy
Mhm.
defilement. So it must be avenged.
The way
Well,
Jeremiah
that
gets like totally I'm sorry to cut you, but the way Jeremiah gets like killed, it's like it reminded me of Total Recall.
Yeah, that scene.
Yeah.
There's a few scroll. Oops, Marvel reference by accident. There's a few skull crushing scenes in movies that are similar to that, and the popping out of the eyeballs. And so I thought
Hmm.
this movie continued in that hallowed tradition.
Yeah.
Lucio
Very
Fulci's
satisfying.
looking up from heaven, down from heaven, laughing and smiling. But yeah, and then his journey, that part of his journey is over. So
Yeah.
tell us about the coda, Rhiannon, because a lot of people trip out on that.
I don't know. I don't remember that particular bit. Can you tell us about the coda?
Well, he leaves and he gets in back in the car. And of course, by this time, he's so completely high on that stuff. And, he's beat up, he's dirty, he's burnt. And so he's in the car and he looks over. In the passenger seat is Mandy. And
Oh
she's
yeah,
like
yeah,
more beautiful than ever, smiling at him. And then they cut to him and he kind of looks at her. Then they cut to her. Then they cut to him again and he has this insane grin. And now, when that happened in the theater, everyone laughed.
And that's actually a very iconic shot that I've
Yes,
seen.
it's in memes now.
Yeah, I've seen it in memes and I've seen it publicized in several spots on the internet.
Yeah, and to me, I think people they're welcome to read what they wish into it. I mean,
Yeah.
the audience I was with was reading into like Nicolas Cage is mugging for the camera right then. But no, I read it as he is so deranged and now he is almost with Mandy. And so when he sees her, he's not worried about composure, how goofy he looks. I mean, that goofy
Hmm.
smile is just like, my goddess is back, and fuck everybody, but people who he's saying fuck you to or don't get it. You know?
but also I think he feels that Mandy is proud of him
Oh yeah,
for avenging
Hmm.
her
that's a good
death.
point. That's a good
I think
point.
there's a cuteness between their spirits that it's like they thought you could get us, but nobody could get. The pair of our love is stronger than
Oh
their
wow, that's
Yeah.
insanity,
good. That's heavy,
you
man.
know.
Good job.
Yeah, the his love for Mandy drove him to those heights, and I think that's another key point on why the movie is called Mandy and not Red.
That's what you were saying.
And
Yeah.
when they
Hmm.
depart, when he keeps driving the car, you don't know what's going to become of him. But if you notice the whole background, it starts to turn into the animated fantasy world that was kind of in his dream and in her paintings. So he's like entering that world literally, like his car is driving into it. And
Yeah.
that's what's happening. So what we're watching is now going over into this other realm where Mandy dwelt or created. So does he die? Does he ascend? I don't know.
Maybe he ascends, yeah.
It's I mean, yeah, I never thought about that. So maybe he's the one who sins, and with her spirit, and the way they leave it like that, I think that blurring of fantasy of reality is it's beautiful because basically you had two people who had a very genuinely mystical, spiritual thing going on, and creative, and then you have these people who were posers who were claiming to be those things and were just destructive, and they brought too much reality. Brought the reality of violence and jealousy and sadism into these people's lives, and it's like, okay, now they're conquered, so Red's free now to go back into the world of fantasy all the way,
Yeah,
wherever it takes him, whether it's literal or figurative. Does that make sense?
yeah, it
Yeah.
does.
But he was righteously slaying these people. I think
Absolutely.
he was justified in slaying these people.
I think every time you see him kill a character, if you have any inclination like, well, hold on, he's killing someone, just think about that scene of her on fire and him holding her skull. And just think, I mean, you really and go, how could you not be driven to
Yeah.
that? You know?
Right.
And they wouldn't mind. They enjoy hurting and killing. They
Yeah.
do it for
Hmm.
pleasure. Like, I mean, I would rather Nicolas Cage's character Red live, because his
Mhm.
heart is good, than any of those people who who kill for pleasure. But
And not
he
only
enjoyed it to get rid of them so that other people weren't going to be killed the same way as
Mhm.
Mandy was,
Right.
I
true,
think.
very true.
What were you gonna say, Elijah?
Not only that, but um, the Children of the New Dawn, the whole cult, they practically. I like to when it comes to them in the story, I kind of look at it as like a portrait of these individuals destroying God and constructing their own religions, specifically Jeremiah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, he's not in any way connected to any god in any of our
Yeah.
cosmologies.
Mhm.
He is God.
In
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
head.
And one thing
Yeah.
I thought of, with Red, there's like certain clues in the movie, and in reading plot synopses, that are mostly authorized, um, the implication is that uh, first implication is that he has had a drinking problem in the past, though that's not really played up at all. But that apparently was part of the idea of his character, but they didn't really get into that. Maybe that's why he impulsively took the cocaine and the black fluid. But I think he would have taken the black fluid regardless, because that's like, now I've got to get your power to fight you, like you said. But the other thing is, it said he was a war veteran of some recent skirmish. And you notice he had been hunting, but he didn't hunt anymore. He had Carruthers keeping his crossbow and bolts. So he wasn't killing any creatures. He wasn't in the war anymore. He was at peace in this mountain with this beautiful, wonderful, witchy woman. And these fucking horrible forces disrupted his attempt to get away from violence, and they unleashed more violence from him than they could ever expect. I think the beast, forging the beast, is a huge symbol of that. I mean, he uses it kind of minimally in the movie, but the forging of it scene is so. And again, it's just music and lighting and Cage hitting something, but it's like, I don't know, it's like next level stuff.
Apparently, Nicolas Cage had a screaming coach for that
Mm,
movie.
a screaming
Uh,
coach.
yeah, David Sellers.
Okay.
Uh, but also for that scene where he's screaming in the bathroom,
Yeah.
he actually channeled his a divorce that he was having at the time.
Mm,
That's actually he said that he was channeling the pain of that divorce
yeah, he's had a
while
couple of
screaming.
messy divorces, sadly. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
fascinating. And I can kind of see that. I mean, there's grief in it. And like I said, I hate seeing audiences that just take it as a shallow gesture when it's actually, a very strong example of physical acting, and
Very true.
so in conclusion, sort of, what are your individual findings in this film? Like, you don't have to say it's like 10 stars or anything, though it obviously is. But you first, Elijah. What do you think?
Honestly, it's dead on that region. I would give it a 9.5. I personally think it is one of the best horror movies, revenge movies in recent years. And I well, undoubtedly like in my top five Nick Cage movies.
Mm,
Um, Cinematography astounding, and the direction. When you add the direction on top of that, it's almost hypnotic, like genuinely.
yeah,
And the colors are like as you said, they're very reminiscent of like um some of the pioneers of the genre, like giallo horror, like
Hmm.
Mario Bava, and
Hmm.
a bit of Dario Argento.
Hmm. Very
So
much
yeah,
so.
it's a stylish horror film and an epic one too. And yeah, 9.5, I'd say. It's a phenomenal movie.
I'm going to let Rhiannon have the last word, but I'll just say real quick. I think it's a 10.5. And I have a strong emotional connection to it. I have followed it in every media, and I've shown it to people. I've watched people react to it in all kinds of different ways. And the trailer immediately, when I saw the trailer, it's one of the greatest trailers ever made. It sums up the movie without giving too many spoilers. It hits all the right bullet points and it edits the visuals together. And it does it in a smart way because it starts with the visuals being serene, which is kind of the movie starts, but it immediately goes into her reading that book. To me, that's a key scene when she reads that book. The wizard reached into the something fissure and grasped his hands around the serpent's eye. It was strange and eternal. That is just, and that's in the trailer. And I was like, this is in the trailer. I got to see this shit. And then when they show him with the axe theming, it's like, oh my God, this is like somewhere else, man. And
Mm.
I was obsessed with it. I hardly knew anyone who even knew about it. But after it came out, word of mouth saved it because what I read today is it cost $6 million. So that's by nowadays
Yeah,
standards a
small
very
budget.
low budget movie. And Elijah Wood, one of the producers, did help pay for it. And I wouldn't be surprised if Cage
Good
didn't throw
man.
in a few thousand. But it only made 1.7 million worldwide.
Yikes.
So it's a
Oh,
horrible, horrible flop financially. But part of it was the total theaters that played in all of America was 250. And that's not all at one time. When I saw it, it was a one night only in Charlotte engagement.
oh.
Two showings, and like crazy guy I am, I bought tickets to both of them, and they were consecutive. And the first one, I loved the movie, hated the audience. Second one, by the time it was halfway through, 2/3 of the way through, I couldn't stand the audience anymore. I had to leave. Um,
Oh, the
so
audience was bad in that one too.
yeah, it was just it was
Man.
like a millennial party of cynics, and when Dwayne, our producer, you know, uh, collects a lot of films that are otherwise unavailable or hard to find, as we know, and he got Mandy before it was on Blu-ray, so he got me a copy to watch, a digital copy to watch, and I was like, wow, without anybody around. And then when the Blu-ray came, I pre-ordered the Blu-ray, got the Blu-ray, was blown away. Then I showed it to my friend Tim McLean, friend of the show, on Halloween of 2018. And I don't know what his ultimate findings are. He can be a little hard on movies. Sorry, Tim. But, I don't know what he thinks about it in hindsight. But at the time, he seemed pretty, I don't want to say hypnotized, but he seemed compelled by it. And since then, I've watched it a bunch of times. But it's one of the last times I tried to watch it prior to deciding to do this. I had to stop. I had to stop pretty early in the movie because it was hitting some notes that were sad to me about
No.
loss and about that kind of love. I mean, I've had a love similar to that. It wasn't as intense, it didn't last as long, but it was a similar dynamic, and it ended suddenly, but not in death, but in abandonment. And so it's like, wow, I kind of feel that cry of, losing something precious. Um, what I was going to say about those characters, I feel kind of like Nicolas Cage is earthen. He represents the earth. He's brawny. He uses his muscles to make money. He's dirty. He's kind of just a plain speaking guy. And Mandy is like the air and the cosmos and the sky and the two, he grounds her and she elevates him. And so when that's broken and he's untethered, watch out.
Yeah, watch out. Man.
Yeah,
What are your final thoughts, Rhiannon?
beautiful love story.
Yeah,
It is a beautiful love story, and it's a beautiful revenge story. Um, it's a great commentary on cult behavior. Um, it's very clever, and it's a comedy. It puts cults into a comedy setting nearly
yeah,
because the
parodies them.
character
Yeah.
Pirate, yeah, Jeremiah is just ridiculous. but I think the guy playing him probably had a great time.
He did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So, yeah, I really, really enjoyed this movie. The first time I watched it with my boyfriend, and the pair of us, we were tripped out watching it. And actually, that night we had nightmares. We had
Mm,
literal, visceral, sort of almost nearly evil nightmares
let's see that.
because our little beautiful little sensitive bodies to the evilness that had been captured and synthesized for this movie kind of seeped into our beings.
Hmm.
Like I
Hmm.
think they did a great job of kind of like um showing the energy of the innocence and then the energy of the love and then the energy of the darkness. I think it was incredible how they captured all of these different energies and then to make it look like an acid trip as well. That's
Yeah.
incredible.
It is
Yeah,
incredible.
truly. So
Yeah,
so much of the movie, so many elements of the movie really stay burned into your memory, even after a first time viewing.
yeah, even after a few, and the sound, like I said in the theater, was just towering. And on Blu-ray, if you turn it up high enough, it's almost as intense, not quite, but that sound and the photography and the kind of uh, cloudy, murky like atmosphere they walk through, it's glittering with all these colors, or alive with all these colors, not really glittering. But it's all enveloping and it's immersive. It's an immersive film. I think if you surrender to it, then it will reward you. If you fight against it, then you'll just end up looking like a fool, like the people I
Yeah,
mentioned.
I agree. I think it's exponentially immersive.
Yeah. And so we all agree
And
this.
I think that the more you watch it though, but I think the more you watch it, like
Mhm.
I didn't have nightmares the second time. I feel like the more you watch it, the more you kind of hold on to the love
Yeah.
element.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But the first time you watch it, maybe you're like shocked by the darkness. But
Yeah.
I think when I on repeated viewing, I think I was more I held on to the love aspect. If that
You
makes
you can
sense.
kind of see it, yeah. And once you kind of have a remove for it and can see it holistically all the way to the end, I mean, there is, I don't know if I say there's hope or a happy ending, but I mean, like I was talking about earlier, there's a level of satisfaction that Red achieves, a level of karmic writing his
Justice.
karma, writing the karma around him, retribution,
Hmm.
and that's in itself a beautiful feeling, and but it still pales before the love that was stolen from him. So,
Yeah.
uh, yeah,
But then we see at the end that it was never stolen because he had it even when she after
yeah,
they
even
all died.
even though her body is dead, it's there,
The
and
love remained.
absolutely, and yeah, when it came out, me and my then roommate were saying, yeah, this is the best horror film of the last 10 years. And that was 2018. I would say of the 2010s, yeah, and of the millennia, it's one of the top. And what's funny is it got vindicated critically after being financially destroyed. And like Esquire magazine, of all places, made it their number one film of 2018 out of 25 films. I would have never thought that magazine would even watch this movie, much less make it number one. And then basically, it's got all the little sites everybody quotes. We want to get into all that. Me and Chuck make jokes about them all the time on here, so no need to belabor that. But Rotten Tomatoes, I'll name one. But all those kind of sites, aggregating sites, 90%, 98%, whatever, 9 out of 10. So a lot of people who criticize it, there are a lot of people who criticize it, but they're not the ones whose voices have risen to the top. For once,
I'm
usually they're the loudest,
I'm
but
pretty sure Letterboxd even praises the movie.
yeah, I've seen it. I've
Yeah.
seen it overall. Yeah, I think they give it a 4.5 or 5, and yeah, it's really just quality, and it was coming out in a period where right before COVID, where there was some really like Annihilation. I saw in the theater twice, and that movie is just
Oh,
staggering.
I love that movie
Yeah, we
so
should we should
much.
cover. Well, we did cover a long time ago on adaptations, our second
Mhm.
episode. But we could always do a symposium. Have you seen that one, Rhiannon? Annihilation?
No, no, I can't wait to see it.
Oh yeah,
It
it's
sounds like
incredible.
you guys love it. I don't know it.
That was actually one of the very first indie films I saw in a theater that made me want to continuously go see more indie films in
Hmm.
theaters.
Hmm.
Haunting, very immersive and clever too.
Yeah, within a couple of years span, what I saw, I didn't go to the theater a lot, but I started going more than I had, and yeah, I saw Mandy, and then I saw the special engagement of House that Jack Built by Lars von Trier.
That's a good one too.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I saw Annihilation twice in the theater. And of course I saw Get Out and Logan. I saw them the same day, one after the other.
Oh yeah.
And that was very satisfying and
I
mind-blowing.
remember when Get Out first came out, the rave for that movie was nuts. And like Logan, like just to have like two miracle films come out of nowhere in the same year. Honestly, 2017 was honestly a solid year
Yeah.
for movies, and I think those two titles definitely contributed to that.
Yeah, because genre movies got a lot of Oscar nominations that year. Both of those movies well, Logan got Best Screenplay nomination. It didn't win,
Mm-hmm.
but Get Out get like five nominations, you know, and some other genre films got several nominations. And yeah, every few years the Oscars throws us a bone. Like
Yeah.
the other year when suddenly Asian people are getting Oscars and Michelle Yeoh was Best Actress, and
Yeah.
and now she's 60. It's taken her this long to get. Oh, Americans are like, oh, Michelle Yeoh must be cool now. I'm like, well, dude, she's had a career like 45 freaking years, dude. You know,
Mm-hmm.
but it was like now it's okay to give Asians actors, and now it's okay to give horror movies. Um, but the big awards, the prestige awards. When I say prestige, I don't mean that pretentiously. They can be pretentious. But things like the Cannes Film Festival, like and Mike, I was going to call him Micah again. I'm sorry, you look like my ex-roommate Micah. Elijah and I were talking about the Cannes Film Festival, and when you win like an award there, that's really a big deal artistically. It's not a popularity contest. It's like, and a lot of
Art.
huh? What'd
It's
you say?
artistic merit. It's
Yes, it's
artistic merit
Mm-hmm.
artistic
more.
merit. Yes, very well said. So on that note, we shall wrap this amazing session. And we implore everyone to go see Mandy. It's streaming on Shutter.
Oh, absolutely. Go see it,
Yeah,
please.
and
Do
it probably will end up being streaming on Tubi at some point. To close, we just want to thank you for watching. We'd like to ask you to like and subscribe, like the video, and please subscribe to the channel if you're not already part of it. And if you hit the notification bell, you'll get a notification of all of our videos as soon as we post them.
Yep.
Uh, Please help us support us. We're trying to get 1,000 subscribers. We're getting there, and everyone has been great. So we just want to keep growing and giving you the best content we can possibly give you. And this kind of format with the symposium is really a place where we can really go deep. So if you like Mandy or if you like whatever movie we're talking about in a symposium, check it out, man. Share it with your friends because we really dig deep. I mean, hate to beat you over the head with that, but
Mm-hmm.
it's about. So, you guys want to say goodbye to the audience now?
I take care, Deed Images crew.
Thank you.
woo.
Mhm.
Big love. Thanks for watching.
Yes, have a great night. Okay, thank you for watching the entire special symposium on Mandy from 2018 by Panos Cosmatos. We appreciate it. We hope you enjoyed it. Fans of Mandy, drop us a line, drop some comments, drop a like on the video, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It helps a lot. And thank you very much for watching. Take care.
And it's true that we cannot see that far behind. If we looked all the way in the past, we'd go blind. In the night, from the stars as they've all lived their lives, and the light that they gave as they burned and then died.